There's a lot of photographs, a lot of pictures where they show, there's your Valley of Lemuel with the stream running through it, continually year-round. Absolute bona fide pictorial evidence of dozens of people who have been there, and they have used the Book of Mormon as a travel guide, and they find the geographical features. Pretty impressive stuff. Now, one of the best summaries of all of the evidence of one of the findings of Bountiful was given by Noel B. Reynolds. This is BYU's academic vice president. The man has credentials as long as my arm. He was there. He went to Saudi Arabia with several groups of miners, archaeologists, botanists, scientists, philosophers, historians, and they have discovered the route that Nephi and Lehi could have plausibly taken. This is in the Book of Mormon Authorship Revisited, the Evidence for Ancient Origins. It's a 1997 book. He sums up Lehi's Arabian journey updated, where he describes Nephi's Bountiful, and using the Book of Mormon's description of the geography of Bountiful, there are about 12 criteria that must be met in order to be a valid candidate for the coastal area that the Nephites call Bountiful. They have found just such a spot. This is on pages 382, 383, 384, 385, 386. If you haven't read this, you are absolutely out of date. And I've got other further updates from George D. Potter from the Farms expedition over there. Yet again, they've sent several expeditions over there. The Hiltons, the Astons, in the footsteps of Lehi, the Astons have been there. They have found the Arabian customs on the women having the mourning rites, burying Nahum burying Ishmael at Nahum. There really is such a place. It really is a burial place, and it really is in order of being mentioned in the Book of Mormon. It's in the correct spot, and the correct customs are there. And from Nahum, the only way you can get to the coast where the Nephites claim they go is due east. And that is exactly what Nephi says they did. It should be on the 16th parallel latitude straight across. I've got maps I'll show you. It's there. Kor Karfat. It is breathtaking. The entire journey of Lehi and his family, as recounted in the Book of Mormon, has been plausibly discovered. None of this was known in Joseph Smith's day. Absolutely none of it. Now we have all of it. Every interesting feature that Nephi mentions in relation to the time traveled or the distance traveled or the amount of time they stayed, the directions they went, what they found, how they hunted, how they lived in the desert, and where they ended up at, and actually building a ship. Everything is confirmed. There was an ancient shipbuilding industry on the coast of Saudi Arabia. They have discovered that. Now, this goes against all of the intuition that Joseph Smith would have had. In fact, right now, today, you just asked me these questions. You obviously aren't updated either. How on earth can all this silly stuff be in the hottest desert in the world? I will show you how. We now have the evidence, and it couldn't be more powerful. Proof that as a Boy Scout, I can build a fire. Unfortunately, it was my wife that built this fire, so she's a proper Girl Scout. Anyway, we're getting ready for supper. Getting ready to do some supper. In the meantime, I promised you I would read Noel B. Reynolds' description. We're going to sit here by the fire and enjoy ourselves. Now this is the criteria by which the Book of Mormon says Bountiful must have. assuming that it's a real eyewitness account of a real journey. This is what Nephi's Bountiful would have to consist of. And he doesn't give the exact location of Bountiful, that's true. It contains numerous details that can help locate it on a modern map, however, and we believe we found that location. The plausibility itself should absolutely take your breath away. The Astons have developed an exhaustive list of factual implications from the text that can, mainly by process of elimination, help locate the sites that might fit Nephi's description of Bountiful. Okay, this is how to scientifically deal with the evidence. Yes? A slightly modified version of their 12 textual criteria for Bountiful follows. The first one, if Nahum is the same as Nephi's Nahum, then Bountiful, which is nearly eastward, as the Book of Mormon says, if Bountiful is nearly eastward of Nahum, it must also be close to the 16th degree north latitude. And it is. The second criteria, the coastal location, must be accessible from the interior desert. And it is. The third criteria, the coastal site and its general environs must be fertile and capable of producing fruits and other crops. And it is. The fourth thing is the coastal site must be suitable for a long-term camp, probably at least 3 years, and for the construction and launching of a sizable ship, which, as you have noted, is simply laughable. The only problem is, it does have the trees, and there was a shipping production in ancient Arabia, dating back, way back to 1200 BC, if not earlier. The fifth thing, timber of a size and quality suitable for a substantial ocean-crossing vessel must be readily available, and it is on this coastal Khor Karfat. Fresh water must be available year-round, and it is. There must be a nearby prominence that Nephi referred to as the Mount, 1 Nephi 18:3, and the Mountain, 1 Nephi 17:7, where he often went to pray, and we have just such a mountain right there on the coast. There must be a dangerous cliff where Nephi's brothers could attempt to kill him by throwing him into the sea. The Mount has cliffs of over 200 feet high that you could easily be thrown off of. There must be ore for tools, preferably iron. It must be available close enough to the site that the Lord could show Nephi where to find it. And there is. I have pictures. George Potter does too. It's fascinating. There must be flint available that Nephi could use to start a fire. And there really is. True story. It is not likely that Bountiful was inhabited circa 590 BC, for there is no mention of social interaction or of market transactions for tools, supplies, etc. That's been modified somewhat, but as a general rule, yes, that's true. And there must be suitable winds and currents for sailing. And there is. The Astons have helped this investigation enormously by visiting every site on the southern coast of the Arabian Peninsula that might possibly have been Nephi's Bountiful. Contrary to the theories of earlier investigators, they have shown that Salalah and other proposed sites do not fulfill the full criteria for Bountiful. Instead, they have discovered an obscure site, little known to people, even in Oman to this day, interestingly, that seems to easily and convincingly meet all the criteria for Bountiful. That place is Khor Karfat. It means the fort inlet, or the port. He's saying this on page 384. It's on the extreme western end of Oman's Dhofar coast and at the mouth of the short and rugged Wadi Sheikh, that is, the river valley. Though it is a small area and incapable of supporting much of a population, there is clear evidence that it has been inhabited in the past. The ruins of a small Islamic period village are evident, and much older and even smaller units and ruins may date to the 1st or 2nd millennium BC. An irrigation system is still visible and may have brought fresh water from further up the wadi to the walled fields nearby the beach and the village. While none of the other candidate sites meet more than half the requirements for Bountiful, Khor Karfat seems to meet them all. Now listen to what Khor Karfat's all about. This is utterly fascinating.